Greetings, friends. I am Ken McAuliffe, and as Steve Gutenberg says, I am the audiophiliac. No, I am the jazz vinyl lover. Thanks again for checking in on the page. I just had the great honor to interview Wayne Shorter for an upcoming issue of Stereophile magazine. I interviewed Wayne, 15 years ago for Jazz Times, many years ago. We were doing like a retrospective on fusion music, and the whole time we were talking, I heard chopping going on in the background, chop, 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 and I thought he was chopping up lines of coke, and somebody told me, no, he's a cook, he loves to cook. But I just got off the phone with him, and we talked about Emanon, his new 3-CD album with a giant graphic novel included in it, and I think it's a wonderful record. It's a long listen, so you have to kind of sit down. It's like listening to an orchestral piece, but it's a really beautiful piece. The first CD was recorded in the studio with an orchestra and his quartet. Then the other two CDs are some of the same material and older material, such as the Three Marias, Lost in Orbits, revisited by his quartet in a live situation. You know, listening to his group is not listening to any other jazz group, particularly on a record. Most groups still play ahead, and they have solos and a bridge, or even if you want to do the math jazz stuff coming out of New York, the compositions are very dense and complex. But Wayne's thing is much more akin to an orchestral composition in the way it's laid out. I know when he comes to the group, he'll have, I've read in multiple places, that he'll have a chart that's like 10 pages long, and so they'll choose something out of that to create a song. But if you listen to Emanon, give it time, because it's to me, I can hear all of his work in there, and it's a really beautiful piece. But I thought it was a superb time to revisit some of his great recordings. He is one of the great composers and tenor players in the world, and maybe often been referred to as the greatest living jazz composer. I totally think that is the truth. I love all of Wayne Shorter's work, and I bought as many of his records as I could through the years. So I thought I would show you some of those. If you're not hip to Wayne Shorter, you know, just buy his first album. Night Dreamer is still kind of heady material. That's his first album on Blue Note. It's a lot to sort of take in. But I've always been struck by the beauty of his melodies. He gets incredible performances from all the sidemen, which are typically Elvin Jones, Richard Davis, Ron Carter, Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan, Herbie Hancock, McCoy Tyner. He often took, on some records, he takes basically Coltrane's band. And for me and my money, I think Shorter's a better composer than Coltrane. His material hits me harder on a deeper level. As much as I love Coltrane, for me, Shorter is a much more intimate, relatable, heartfelt composer. Now, granted, both these men have huge bodies of work, and they both made so many records, but just for me, that's what I dig. And so I thought I'd revisit some of his albums to show you what's available and to show you what I have. Juju Eye, or just Juju on Blue Note. And you can see I have just the basic Liberty pressing, that period of Liberty, and it sounds fantastic. You can have this. This is the later end of Liberty recordings, I believe, before they were bought by Transamerica. They have that blue and gray label. And then the fantastic Adam's Apple, which in his book and his biography, the writer sort of posits, and I agree, that this is the closest he ever got to soul jazz. And again, this is a Liberty recording, the more traditional Liberty recording, and this sounds great. This might even be laminated. Well, it's not, but look at that. Beautiful Reed Miles artwork. Then I have another Speak No Evil, and this is a United Artists pressing. And then I have another Speak No Evil, and this may be the original. This is a New York pressing. I don't know if you can see that. I hope that's not upside down. Then his first album, Night Dreamer, which I didn't know until recently reading the book, that Night Dreamer is Wayne Shorter's debut on Blue Note. Before that, he has Waning Moments, I believe, on VJ, and a couple other records. Those are equally great. In the background right now, I have the Wayne Shorter channel playing on Spotify, which is a great resource to check all his work, not only his Blue Note stuff and the earlier stuff, but the later records like High Life, Phantom Navigator, Night, I forgot the other names of those records on Columbia, which were a little bit hit and miss for me. High Life in particular, they're odd records. I think he was trying to find his groove after Weatherport. Anyway, the fantastic Night Dreamer. This is a York copy. How can I get that to be straight up? Anyway, I'm not going to try. You'll just have to trust me. There's a New York printing. And here's another New York printing. Can I hear difference in these? Yeah, on my stereo, on my crazy stereo, I can definitely hear differences in these. And here's another Liberty recording with the included original Liberty insert sleeve. And then there was this interesting series that Blue Note did, I guess in the early 70s, the LT series, which eventually were reissued by everybody and his mother, Wayne Shorter, etc. A lot of people complained about these covers. These are not Rudy Van Gelder's. These are the much despised, but I think they're pretty good blue labels. I like these covers myself. I think they're cool. And there's Soothsayer. I like these records. They used to be really cheap, like 15 bucks. Or you can go whole hog and buy the Music Matters copies. Or here's a Japanese copy of Soothsayer. You know, a lot of these records came out in Japan first. You can see the little Japanese logo on there. The Japanese always smarter than we are, apparently. And of course, I gave in and bought the Music Matters 33 1/3, 45 RPM. You know, I'm not the hugest fan of Music Matters pressings. As I've said a million times, they sound to me like they took the musicians and recorded them in a modern studio, which is not what I want to hear. But for what these are beautiful recordings. Great pictures from the session. You know, I think if you're going to buy Music Matters, 45 RPM is the way to go, and I would say jump on it, because they have stopped printing those records now. I also have the same on, there's the Music Matters Soothsayer, the Music Matters Speak No Evil, and a record that is sort of hard to find, Schizophrenia. Incredible cover. This is a Liberty pressing. Sorry for the bad angle. But there's the funky Schizophrenia in all its glory. There's the back cover. This has Curtis Fuller, James Spaulding, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Joe Chambers. I think this was one of his last proper Blue Note records. I imagine before Native Dancer. Rudy Van Gelder, produced by Francis Wolff. See, but they're creeping in. Transamerica. The demon is on the prowl. Anyway, Wayne Shorter, one of the great composers in jazz, one of the great composers, period. He's always a lot of fun to interview. He sort of speaks in riddles somewhat. He's very playful, and you have to kind of be ready to go where he goes. Anyway, Ken McAuliffe, Jazz Vinyl Lover, and please look out for my Wayne Shorter feature in Stereophile, which should appear, I believe, in the middle of November. Very excited about that, and I think we're going to follow it up with a Diana Krall feature. All right, all the best. Thanks for checking in. Bye.